I thought I wasn't afraid of. I never knew that I was so scared to change because of honest affection. To change because of honest affection.
You're listening to the RMPodcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Red Moon Podcast. We were cutting things a little close this week.
Yeah, we were.
Not because of anything hugely important, just, we were discussing things. Because we're friends and we like to talk.
Yeah.
Which is why we have a podcast.
I don't like to talk to my friends.
I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and
Keith Cheatham.
Yeah, what are we talking about this week, guys?
Bananas.
You all should know.
In
Movies.
pajamas.
Bananas and pajamas.
They're coming down the stairs.
Going straight to hell.
Oh, wow. I can't hear me.
You
Bananas.
can't?
No.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
no.
You
Technical
have to-
difficulties. Do you
Yeah.
need to... Which one?
No, I can hear everything very loudly.
But you.
I can't
but
I
you.
can't hear myself
We'll have
at
to
all.
we'll have to try to fix that
That's messed up.
It's
in the break.
probably something Brandon did.
in the break
I
when
might
we get
not
to the
even be
review.
coming through right now. I don't
You
even know.
are. We hear
Oh.
you just fine.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
You sound great in our ears.
Odd.
All of our listeners hear your beautiful voice,
Odd.
Sean. It's funny when we
Twinkle
get
it.
started late.
Twinkle,
We just
twinkle.
we're
We
in the
didn't
middle
get-
of talking.
We didn't get started late.
no, well,
the
no,
podcast
no, no,
started
yeah.
on time.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, it starts on time whether we're ready or not.
We just...
I mean, that's the way
Listen,
live
we-
TV works.
We just weren't in our seats and shut up ready to go until you said, welcome to the RM Podcast.
That's right. That's well, you know what? We were resting and we were getting ready from the big move. Sean had a big move this past week, and
Oh man,
we were all sore from it, but we're back in the studio.
Yep.
We
I had
helped.
Good helpers.
it was great. I got to take a poo there, so I don't know.
We both, I think, laid a deuce.
well, I
You
don't.
laid a deuce in my new house?
Yes,
we did.
both of us.
Wow.
And I don't know if you had yet or not.
I
'cause-
had.
Okay, good. Because I always feel bad. It's like I
I
feel
actually-
like
I actually dropped a deuce during the final walkthrough.
nice.
that's a
nice.
good. That's
I got
even
lucky
better.
in one bathroom had toilet
As I
paper
say, if
in
you
it.
didn't get to christen your own bathroom, I was going to be upset that we did it for you
He
already.
christened it before it was even appraised.
Oh, it wasn't even our house yet.
I mean, that's probably why it went up.
I was
that's-
marking my territory.
That's right. He's like, this is mine now.
I would. I'd like to go, and it's like, hey, if I'm enjoying a poop in this bathroom, then I know it's a good house. Maybe that's worth a buy.
I will say, yeah, that was a very nice bathroom and a very nice house.
Which one did you go in?
The one upstairs.
Huh? I went in the fifth one.
The fifth one.
Yeah, there. I mean, it's crazy. It's a
That's not
mansion.
fifth
Sean moved into this mansion. I'm telling you, it's like he's got five
There's
full baths.
definitely
Three
there,
bathrooms.
no. There's 4 because you have one on every floor and then one attached to the master bedroom.
Look, when Red Moon increased your salary, I didn't know
It's
he
3.5
increased it that
baths.
much.
3.5. Okay,
3.5
that's fair.
baths.
Yeah, 3.5.
It is.
Okay.
There's 4 toilets. Okay, I know that. Which
I
is
went
awesome.
downstairs and no.
You can
I
take
thought
a
I could.
crap anywhere in our house.
Yeah,
I love it.
I went.
Yep.
It was in the one next to the laundry room. Was where I went.
Well, the laundry room's where I keep my banana hammocks.
Isn't that
Hey,
the one in the
I
basement?
didn't smell those. What?
You didn't go to the one in the very
No, the
upstairs.
basement. It didn't have any toilet paper.
The one upstairs had toilet paper. That's why.
That's
I
why I
went.
went. Yeah, I was
Well,
gonna
that
go.
wasn't next to the laundry room. I'm talking about the one at the very top floor, next to the kids'
Oh no
playroom.
no! I went to the one next to the laundry room. not
I
way
didn't go that
upstairs.
one because it was in the middle floor where most of the people were, and I
Yeah.
didn't want to stink up the whole house.
I turned the fan
Figured I'd
on.
stink up the upstairs because it's just going to rise anyway.
True.
So
yeah, it
that
just
was
goes
smart.
up in the attic,
yeah,
basically.
yeah. So
You picked the smarter choice.
Yep.
yeah.
But I wanted people to smell my fecal matter. I wanted them to know. I mean, I'm marking my
So
territory.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Amelia and her parents were
We're
downstairs
still smelling it.
packing stuff, unpacking stuff, and we're like,
We're
oh
burning
my.
those wax cubes trying to get rid of it.
Truthfully wanted to use the bathroom with the phone in it. I don't know why you would
That's
have a phone.
That's the master.
in the
Isn't that the
bathroom,
one with the master bedroom?
It
Yeah,
is.
the purple bathroom.
Yeah.
We got to paint that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
But
liked
it is
purple.
definitely a throne room.
And apparently they had landlines in every room of the house.
Well, there was a
and
phone
one in the bathroom.
There was a phone right next to the toilet.
right beside the toilet.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
And
It
I'm
doesn't
kinda
work.
jealous.
I tried. It doesn't
Oh.
work.
No, it doesn't.
but
but
it
it
is-
could
Well, you don't
if
have
you
a
wanted to
line.
hook
Yeah,
it
you
back
gotta
up.
hook a
It's
line
just like
up
it's
to it.
back in that day before cell phones. I guess you had to crap and you wanted to be able to get the phone. You had to have a phone.
I
right
mean, I
in the
guess if
toilet.
you're Elvis, you're thankful.
I was thinking like,
You just crap out on the toilet. You know,
well, I
you
was
call
thinking
for
like
help.
maybe if a
Elvish.
Yeah,
Elvis.
Oh,
yeah.
he said
I was
Elvis.
thinking maybe at one point an elderly person lived there and
No.
installed the.
Oh
phone.
well, that's possible. The
Could've
people
been.
We bought it from.
They were
weren't
like,
the
you know, that way if they
original
fell off the
owners.
toilet, they could make a call and be like, "Hey,
That's a fair
I'm
point.
down. I'm down."
And I
True.
thought about that too, or I thought about if I was here, I would be ordering the next pizza
Mm.
just from the one I'm pooping out and for the next
I mean,
one I'm
like,
about to consume.
Keith McMinn could have used a phone on his. He passed out on the toilet and broke his nose. So
That's
if he had had a
true.
phone, he might have been okay.
Oh my gosh.
I do
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, what was he doing that he passed out?
Pushing
in the bath?
hard. Man.
Apparently, he was already very sick
Busting
and
the blood
dehydrated,
vessel.
and I guess he
Oh,
just pushed
wow.
too hard and passed out and smacked his nose against the sink. And
Have you ever pushed
there
so
you go.
hard your face goes red?
Oh yeah.
I mean, and then you look.
Pretty
in
sure
the mirror-
everyone's done that.
Yeah.
I've
A
never
vein pops
passed
out
out
on
on the
your
toilet,
forehead.
but I have pushed so hard that
Yeah,
that you see spots.
that's a good
Like
way
I
to put
always
it.
see spots after I'm done.
Oh.
It's just not, it's in the toilet.
You know what other red I'm seeing?
Yeah.
A lot of red in this room from the Red Moon podcast.
I was thinking, you
That's
know
right.
what other spots we may have been seeing
Oh,
this past weekend or before, because me and Sean saw it before this past weekend.
Huh.
That's the film
was
that
a
we are
very good
reviewing.
segue.
that was a
You
fantastic
know,
segue.
there's not as many spots in this film. It's an origin story, and we're speaking of Cruella, which has been a big hit for Disney. We're always very weary of the live action adaptations for good
I'm
reason.
gonna turn you into a coat.
There you go.
That's right.
God, the dog is attacking.
Oh my gosh, look at her. She's right there. She's trying to
She,
get to the mic.
She heard me
Oh
say,
my
oh,
gosh.
oh.
Oh gosh.
She bit it.
She is going at him.
I'm gonna
bit the
boycott
mic.
this movie.
Edie.
She heard the name Cruella, and she was like, "Oh
she
no!"
is. She was trying. She was trying to
Dogs
boycott
know.
the movie. Come here, Edie.
Back to the good face up here.
Gosh,
They know the
sakes,
evil.
Calm down, girl.
Mm.
She did. She heard a movie about dogs and was
She
just
said, "Hey,
riled up.
None of this.
All right.
Let's
Listen to the review.
Let's get into our review. Yes, of Cruella.
One of Disney's most iconic villains has gotten her own live-action spinoff, and the film's success is anything but scary. Starring Emma Stone as the titular character, Disney's Cruella promises a fresh spin on a classic villain. Though the character had previously been brought to life by Glenn Close in the 1996 live-action adaptation of 101 Dalmatians and its less successful sequel, 102 Dalmatians, Cruella tells an origin story beginning with the character's birth as Estella, who is orphaned at a young age after the tragic death of her mother. Growing up on the streets with fellow orphans Horace and Jasper, portrayed by Paul Walter Hauser and Joel Fry as they grow older, and stealing to get by, Estella sets her sights on becoming a famous fashion designer and seeking revenge on Baroness von Hellman, the woman responsible for her mother's demise, played by Emma Thompson. Estella soon takes on the persona of Cruella, and the film effectively turns the character into an anti-hero as it journeys her descent into the villain she will one day become. Cruella is not a film I personally had high hopes for, but was pleasantly surprised by. Directed by Craig Gillespie, the character has already been iconically done in its original animation and by Glenn Close. With two equally loved interpretations of the character already, Emma Stone had a lot of expectations to beat, and she steamrolls over them all, making the character her own, while still bringing the character audiences know to life through subtle mannerisms and Cruella's familiar drawl, all without ever waving a single cigarette. The movie manages to make the character likable and provides her a tragic background that gives the audiences a reason to root for the character. This doesn't mean the movie completely throws away the character's villainous roots, however, as it also gives audiences plenty of opportunities to question the character and whether one should root for her or not, opening the door for her complete descent into villainy down the road. Playing with trauma and even a bit of split personality, the film's use of the Estella and Cruella alter egos creates a character with more depth than we've seen before. Outside of the story and characters, the film's style in and of itself is unique to any other live-action Disney adaptation. Adopting a punk rock motif, the music, and even Cruella's fashionista flair is all centered around a punk theme that again adds new life to the character while still feeling at home with what we've seen before. The film leans into the punk vibe and is often darker than previous live-action adaptations, but never more so than Disney films such as Pirates of the Caribbean, and offers plenty of laughs and animal hijinks as nearly every major character in the film has a dog sidekick. In fact, the only real negative that comes from the film, in my opinion, centers around said dogs. While some of the CGI suffers, like many of Disney's live-action remakes, the worst offenses involve the more action-oriented scenes involving the film's dogs. And while some of these animals are fairly integral to the plot, there are a few scenes with the animals that really do not add much to the story and could have been trimmed. Ultimately, Gillespie has created one of the better live-action Disney adaptations, and one I would be happy to watch more than once, blending the familiar with new ideas and setting up origins for all of the characters we are familiar with from the original animated film. Cruella adds a new layer to the classic tale. I give Cruella 3 out of 4 stars.
3 out of 4 stars for Cruella.
It's 3.
Cruella. Well, how is
Cruella.
Cruella?
Cruella
I can't
de
say
Vil.
it real well.
Stuella.
Estuella. That's her actual name.
Estella.
Estella.
That's
Estella.
it. That's it. But no, I liked it. I would agree. 3 out of 4 stars.
Yep.
I thought it was very good.
It was a good movie.
Especially since, like I was saying before the review, the live-action adaptations are so hit or miss with Disney. I mean, we've seen good ones. We've seen just absolutely terrible ones.
No, every single one that's a depiction of a classic Disney
The
film.
ones
is
that are
awful.
actually like almost
god-awful.
verbatim remakes, like
Yep.
Lion King,
Aladdin, I wasn't too
that
fond
they're
of.
very poorly done. The ones that are kind of more of a spin-off offshoot that focuses on like a specific character like Cruella, because it's not a remake of 101 Dalmatians. It's an origin story for the character Cruella.
Right.
And it's definitely, I feel like, yes, we've mentioned that it seems like these kind of offshoots tend to be more successful and done better, and maybe that's because you actually have more creative people coming up with a new story rather than trying to figure out how to adapt an old story. And you have that nervousness of, I think, especially like with Jon Favreau and Lion King, where it's like, well, I don't want to make it too much my own because it is loved so much, but then you get the opposite side where it's like, well, then why don't I just watch the original? Why do I need to watch?
You made it shot for shot,
Yeah.
just with better looking cats.
Yeah. Well, and I was gonna say I would actually, that was the one. Hold on, there were two. It was Jungle Book, and there's one other one I'm missing.
Jungle Book's good.
that I didn't think. No,
Dumbo
no.
was terrible.
oh
was
no,
terrible.
Jungle Book wasn't bad
No,
though.
Jungle Book was decent.
Dumbo, Aladdin,
Um,
Lion King.
Cinderella was decent.
Lady and the Tramp was
Cinderella was
terrible,
decent.
too.
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast was
Beauty
okay.
in the Bay.
Beauty
and
and
the
the
Bay. Beauty and the
Man, that would
Bay.
be a good one.
Oh
That would be modern times.
I feel like we are missing one that was actually well done outside of Jungle
I'd have to
Book.
look them up.
and-
Mulan was just fantastic. So good.
So
No,
good.
you have a good point
So
though,
good.
because even with Star Wars, Rogue One is arguably the best Star Wars movie that Disney's
Yeah.
put out.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
And-
even Solo was better.
Well,
than,
there's
than-
another one. Yeah, but I still think Rogue One
Rogue
is
One,
the
no,
top
it's
of my
definitely.
list.
Well,
Yeah.
it has
Definitely.
been. It's been that they've all of the side stories that they've gone
Yeah.
and actually found people who, one, either love the source material enough to do justice to it, or at least give it the time to kind of incubate
Yeah.
and figure out all the kinks and make it something that is original, like this film. It also kind of it allows for this tapestry of of the film. I had to use it.
I love that.
I just
I do
used
It
to
just
throw
it
out
makes me
there.
think of
know?
freaking Last Crusade.
Yeah.
When he goes
Yeah.
in there, he's like,
Yeah.
Where are our little tapestries?
Yeah.
And he's like, tapestries? He's like, yes, can't build a castle without tapestries.
That's right.
See,
It's
and
like
then I immediately,
amazing.
when you bring up that movie, I think of you chose
Wisely.
poorly.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like when
Well,
he says
they
that
do
one.
the wisely as
Yeah.
well. You
Yeah.
know.
But I don't know. To me, this film, like their other, I'm trying to think of the other ones that are based on the animated features that are the side stories, because this isn't the first one, and I don't know why I'm blanking
it's,
on them.
It's not. I mean, there have been some bad ones of that too. Arguably, like I know. Some people will be mad because they love these movies, but I didn't think they were very good. The Maleficent films are more offshoots.
Yeah.
Though I've heard the second one actually isn't bad. I've not seen it. The first one I thought was terrible. Don't care what anybody else says.
You had The Huntsman, which was like a
Well, that
little
wasn't
side
Disney.
story.
That wasn't
that's
Disney.
True.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
wasn't Disney.
Yeah.
I'm
trying
looking
to
at
think
not Enchanted. You can't include that.
I
I'm looking
love
at
that
I'm
movie.
looking at
that,
them,
yeah, Enchanted's good. That's
but
something different.
Treasure Planet was one that everybody thinks like.
I
if
think
you're gonna
Treasure
do
Planet-
live action.
If they should do
I
Treasure
mean-
Planet and Atlantis: The Lost Empire, those would be awesome done live action. And yet they keep going back to classics that nobody really needs a remake of.
It's weird.
Lady and the
because it's
Tramp
like,
was terrible.
Yeah,
we
I already
actually-
mentioned that one.
We
Yeah.
did kind of name, I think, all of them.
Have we named all of them?
so far? The live action ones,
Hmm.
whether they were remakes or Mary Poppins live action,
Well, that's
but that's
that's
kind of a
different,
remake
yeah.
of a live action film.
well, it's not. It's a sequel.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's
okay.
a sequel to the live action. Yeah,
shows I've
so-
seen it.
Yeah,
I thought you would. It's Emily Blunt.
yeah.
Hey, look,
It's actually not bad.
ain't nothing wrong with that.
I don't
but
think it's as good as the original Mary Poppins, but as a sequel with a entirely different cast, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm looking through and I can't. If you're listening out there and you've got some that's
Jungle
like on
Book,
the
man. That's
tip
it.
of your tongue,
That's
that's
it.
the only thing I could think that I liked. Sad, but
Jungle
it is.
Book. Oh, no. And again, I mean, it's like a remake of another live action, but Pete's Dragon was really good. The remake of
Yes,
Pete's Dragon was
okay,
actually
but
really
see,
good.
that- I was gonna say I didn't know that
It's
was a
different
remake.
because it's not a musical like the original, and it doesn't have like a cartoon dragon. It's a CGI.
Right. Yeah.
But
Oh,
it is
yes,
really
okay,
with
yes,
Robert Redford.
yes,
Yes, it is
yep,
actually
yep,
pretty good.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay.
but no, to me at least this
It's because
one,
Robert Redford's in it. That's why it's good.
Probably.
I guess. I mean,
I like Robert Redford.
he's a good actor and a decent director. He did oh gosh, it's a good movie. Sean Penn and
I Am Sam.
no, definitely not that one.
No.
No,
Mystic River.
crap.
Yeah, Mystic River,
Milk.
didn't he?
Dang, no. Gosh, y'all screwing me up. I keep throwing these dang names out there. About to cuss again.
The
I
Kings.
can't.
All the King's Men.
Dead Man Walking.
Dead Man Walking.
It's a
I've not
good
seen
movie.
that
Susan Sarandon. It's about a guy on death row.
I'll have to check it out.
It's a good one. It's a good
I'm
movie.
not a big
But
Sean
Robert
Penn
Redford,
fan, but
He does well in that. I think he
I
was
mean,
nominated.
I
for
like
that role.
movies he's in. I do. I just don't care
How
for
did we
him.
let's talk about Cruella.
I was gonna say we're all over the place
everywhere,
right now.
but on this movie.
Look, I mean,
We're doing like the
I was gonna go
7
back
Degrees
into
of
it
Kevin Bacon, only with just different actors
With
connected.
Robert
So-
Redfield?
Yeah.
Redford?
Redfield. Yeah.
and I
All
can't
right.
speak.
No.
No, to me,
Cruella.
I at least think that with this film, it was interesting to choose, for one, a villain to do an origin story, but also give you because this is what I can't stand. I cannot stand any of these. They want you to sympathize with the character, but in a way that I shouldn't. And for me, they make you sympathize with kind of how her upbringing, how she comes to be Cruella.
Right.
But they don't.
They give you enough that you're still like, okay, yeah, she's still not a good person.
Right.
Like, you don't think like, oh yeah, this is a role model.
Right.
Yeah.
And I actually my one negative of the film was the fact, and this would knock off a whole star for me. I did end up giving it 3 out of 4. But my one negative for the whole film was the fact that because they made her 2 partners that are kind of like the bumbling idiots in the I guess I never saw the live action 101.
Yeah, in both the animated and the Glenn Close
but
film,
in the animated
they're just stooges.
Yeah. And so the fact that they make them an integral part of her upbringing and how they kind of make it seem like
They're basically family. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say not only just family,
Yeah.
but they're also they're the ringleaders at first. They kind of bring her into this world,
right.
and then they show her the skill sets that they've learned of making it on their own as orphans. And so I thought as that relationship melded and became one, but then for them to suddenly juxtapose that against her becoming Cruella and starting to use them, and you see them kind of standing up for themselves to a degree, but he's even to the point of questioning her, like, I don't like this person. Well, then I'm like, well, then why do you stick with her?
Yeah.
And I wish they just would have went with a better way of convincing me that I believe they stuck with her.
They do try to kind of distance
but I just
themselves.
didn't. I just didn't like the way they. I almost wish like there would have been like between her and I forget the guy's name. Is it Jose? Is the actor?
Who you? No.
The tall thin guy. I don't know. I'm butchering his name.
You talking about the guy that plays Jasper?
Jasper.
I'd have to pull him up.
I forget what. I thought you mentioned it in the review.
I did. I
maybe-
mentioned their
may be
names, but
butchering
I
it.
don't. They're not well known enough for me to remember right just because
He's been in
I
a
wrote
couple
it.
films.
Yeah, they both have. I just don't know their names right off the top of my head.
But
I'm
I at
pulling
least
it up, though.
I thought his character, the other one that's the bigger fat guy, he's the bumbling, just kind of go
Horace.
with it. Horace.
Joel Fry played Jasper. That's
Hey,
the,
I was close.
that's
Jose.
the tall. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Joel,
was close.
I don't know. Yeah, Jose, where Jose came from. But,
But no, I thought
he's not Hispanic in any way.
saying black people can't be Hispanic.
Yeah.
That's racist.
He's not black
he looks,
either.
He does look mixed.
He is
He's
mixed.
mixed.
He's
Okay.
mixed.
All right. So y'all are giving
That's
me that
okay.
one. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But no, I thought if they would have maybe made him a love interest, which they kind of hint at. There's a hint of them possibly falling for
Maybe,
each other,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
nothing.
they hint
I
at
feel
it,
like
but
they could have used that as a springboard for getting him to go along with certain things.
Yeah.
And I wish that would have been more of the angle instead of, oh, we've just been brought up together and we pull, we pull ourselves together and do. And I'm like, yeah, but that's when she was Estella. That was when she, was doing things for the right of you
Yeah.
all and making, you all advance
I do
as
ag-
opposed to just herself.
Oh, I was just gonna say I do agree to an extent that I don't feel like they fully convinced me of like why Horace and Jasper are hanging around, but they do, like Sean said, have a few moments where they're kind of like, oh, we don't really want to go through with this, and then I do think they hint at like Jasper having feelings for her, but they never really follow through with that either. So by the time that spoiler alert, the Estella persona is dead and there's only Cruella left, I kind of feel like they tried to make like that joking scene at the end with Horace. It's like it's very sad, but then they just follow her along, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I wish maybe a little bit more there, but I think for the most part, I mean that, and then for me, the CGI with the dogs was
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
at times.
I don't understand why they had to make fake. Me and Amelia were both watching. I was like, "That dog's fake." And
Yes.
she was like, "I can tell." And I'm like, "Why did they use a fake dog?
Why?
You can't get a real dog to do that anymore." I mean,
Exactly. And
there was
literally, that's the
nothing-
thing.
yeah,
there
in
was
the film
nothing
that
that
they
they
couldn't have-
did
Yeah.
that made them like
No,
unrealistic.
literally,
that
they're
they had to
holding
be
the
fake.
dog in their arms.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do they use a fake dog
Well,
for
even,
a
like,
scene like that?
The most they do, well, I mean, Wink, for most of the film was real, so they had to train that Chihuahua. I mean, there are scenes where he's
Yeah.
CGI too, but for most of the part, a lot of the stuff he does with stealing stuff was a real dog. So I'm like,
Yeah.
if they trained the Chihuahua to pickpocket people, why couldn't they train a Dalmatian to jump on somebody? Because literally, that's the most they do is they jumped on a person
'Cause
and they
Dalmatians
use
really
a
are
CGI.
evil.
Yeah,
They're really evil and they're mean and they don't train.
Rambunctious.
Yeah.
That's right. You can't
Yeah.
train them things. Just saying.
I did think Wink was hilarious. I thought he was going to be
Oh, yeah.
stupid, like especially since every major character had like a dog sidekick. I was like, oh gosh, this is going to get annoying. And they actually didn't, and I did think Wink, as much as I thought he was going to be this lame shtick, was actually pretty funny. I love the fact that he was a one-eyed chihuahua with an eye patch.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
just like
No,
I don't know why, it was
But
just funny.
I think the dog and that the the chubby guy.
Horace, yeah.
Horace, I think
Paul Walter Hauser, I think
They
is the actor's
they
name.
were a team.
Yes,
and
they
I
fit
thought
well
that
together.
that was what was really funny. But that guy's like, God, I've been seeing him in so many films
I
now.
have too.
And
He really is like
he
this-
was what is the Clint Eastwood movie? It's the guy's name.
I know. And I'm
about the bombing. in the
Richard
park.
Jewell?
Richard Jewell. Yeah,
that
he
was it.
Richard
Yep,
Jewell,
that was it.
which was a fantastic, like, serious
I
movie.
honestly-
He
and-
played the part so well that I truthfully
I
thought
know,
that
he
he had some part of those characteristics as Richard Jewell.
I had never
I
seen.
seriously did.
Yeah, I'd never seen the actor before that film, and now, yeah, I've
He's
seen him
popping up in everything.
Everything.
But
Like
he
you
is
said, it
he
was
is really good.
Everything else
Guy.
I've seen him in is
Yeah.
comedic stuff.
He was. I haven't seen it. He was in I, Tonya.
Tanya.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Tanya Harding.
We,
yeah.
we
I,
none of us
Tanya.
can speak to.
Yeah, he was in Black Klansman, which I vaguely remember.
Another one I missed. Darn.
He wasn't a he was.
Yeah,
I
you
think he was
didn't
just one
miss
of the Klansmen.
anything.
He wasn't. I don't think he was a major character.
I would agree with you,
Um,
Brandon, though, that the big negative to me was how they. I don't feel like this film and the previous live-action film tie together very well.
Well, no, because Anita's a black woman in this film and
Right,
a white
right.
actress in the
I
other
thought
one.
that was just. I was like, okay, if you're gonna make an origin story, you've got to try to at least make it fit a little bit with what we've already seen.
Yeah.
And it's like even the tall guy Jasper is a mixed race guy in this movie, but in the other one it's Hugh Laurie. He's a British guy.
Well, I don't think this is supposed to be meant as a prequel to the other live action film. It's supposed to
I know.
be its own thing.
I think they're trying to
because
do a reboot
because they're talking
understand
about
that,
making
but-
sequels.
universe.
But
Okay,
here's what's odd about that, because Glenn Close was actually an executive producer for this film.
Right.
She played
Cruella
Cruella in
and-
the
yeah.
other one.
Yeah.
And they're talking about if they do sequels, they'd really like to do a Godfather thing where they have Emma Stone as young Cruella and then show like flash forward scenes to Glenn Close as
Close.
older Cruella. And I was like, that's
Well,
fine
then
because
that
she
ties
was.
directly
Yeah.
in with the original.
But apparently it's not going to. They just want Glenn Close to come back because she was so iconic. It's like, I get that, but then it also still misleads
See, I
people
think they
into
should
thinking
just stick
that.
with Emma Stone
Yeah.
at that point. I
Yeah.
think she's made her stay and made her case quite clearly in this film that she's more than capable of carrying this
Yeah.
role.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think they just need to keep her. But at the same time, I thought it was just interesting that, again, another problem that I have with Disney, although I guess fans won't really care. Me hating Zack Snyder, I hate anything where it's like, it's a success, let's do a sequel.
Yeah.
And that's immediately right out of the gate. It was like one bit of momentary success with this film, and they're immediately like, we're in talks with Cruella too. I mean, we knew
They all
because
have
I know
sequels
because
in the works for the most part. I mean, there's an
that's
Aladdin
what
2
I hate
coming.
about
I mean,
this.
God.
that's what I hate about
Seriously?
exactly. I mean,
But that's one that definitely doesn't merit or deserve at all a sequel.
True.
Like, I could see Cruella. I would watch another one. I
agreed,
enjoyed this one
because it
enough.
was good.
Yeah.
Yes.
But again, and like Aladdin though made buku dollars at the box office,
so they're going to make another
So
one.
they're going to make another one.
which will probably be just as terrible.
And, well, here's the thing:
They did
If
two
it
of the
is
Alice in
better-
Wonderlands with Tim Burton, and neither one of them were good.
But here's the thing: if it is better, then the real question is, why don't you just start with an original version in this world? Like, why can't it just be an Aladdin that is a brother to the animated classic, but it doesn't have to be a full-on remake?
Yeah.
Like, that's what ticks me off. Is I'm like, you know, just like they did with these straight to VHS animated films back in the day, just to sell them for kids. I'm just like, okay, fine, you're going on this craze. Well, then at least do like these sidebar films like Cruella and what else they have in the works. I know there's others. That's blank in my mind and it's driving me nuts. But it's like all
Are you
these
just
other,
about spin-offs? Or
Yeah,
I
spin-offs
mean,
in
they
general.
do have, because I know, I mean, they're working on a live-action Hercules, which probably.
but that's a
eh.
main title.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not a
Well, I don't
spin-off.
know if they have any spin-offs in the works right now. I don't know.
Was Cruella the only one? I'm pretty sure they have others.
Well, I'm sure they have all. They're planning
need
on
to look
basically
it
doing
up.
a live-action adaptation of all their properties. So
I
yeah,
didn't
Little
come
Mermaid's
prepared.
coming soon.
Yeah,
It
Little
won't be a
Mermaid's
spin-off,
coming
it'll
soon.
be another exact.
It
remake.
is.
Yeah.
But they're again, but because they're, I think Zendaya is already attached to that. Isn't
no,
she?
you keep
Or-
saying that. It's a girl that's much younger because it's
Oh,
an actual
no,
like
she's-
teenage. girl,
but
yeah.
she did come from I think either Disney or Nickelodeon or something like that. And that's
Yeah, I
probably
don't
why
know.
I keep confusing them.
I don't.
Again, I'm off.
I don't. Again, I didn't care
I
about
think
this
it's-
movie until I saw it.
I think
so
it's because I want
yeah.
Zendaya to be
I-
attached as
yeah,
Ariel.
I would too. I absolutely would too. Just to see that image. But yeah, anytime I hear of a live action adaptation coming from Disney now, I just literally don't care.
I
And
know.
until they prove me wrong, like Cruella did, because I really didn't expect this
Yep.
movie to be good until I
Yeah.
saw it.
My wife wanted to sit down and watch it, so I procured it, and I didn't pay for it. I'll
I,
just say that.
procured it for the lake when we went during Memorial Weekend, and we actually all watched it down there.
But yeah, I was kind of like, God, I haven't watched a movie with her in forever, so we'll sit and watch this. And then I ended up really, really liking it.
Yeah.
So,
And
it
I
was just-
actually, I mean, this is another one of those films too, where I think apart from the story and just the tie-in to, it being a Disney character, I liked that they took the fashion angle, and I liked that they expanded in you could tell they took the time for production design.
Yes.
And for the actual, them back and forth, of course, they're cliches and they're very, exaggerated in terms of their attitudes in the fashion world. But it's
but it
the
also
people
fits
that
the character.
It fits the character, and I mean, it was like the things that were showing up on screen, and when she shows up to these different events and basically bust in to take all the attention away from Emma Thompson. I'm just like. They're pretty eye-catching, moments, and they're also
the costume design was terrific.
Exactly,
Very well
it was just
done,
the production design was fantastic, and it was on par with what I think you would see at a fashion show. And I was like, I give it to him for that alone.
funny
It gives
'cause-
you way more than what we see in the other live-action movie, and even in the original animated movie.
Yeah.
The only fashion side of it that you see is her wanting to make the
fur
outfit
coat,
out of the fur.
Right.
And in the live-action film.
You get a little bit more
I forget what her
clothes.
name is. She was married to Ian.
We actually just
or,
looked this up yesterday.
or,
The live action.
You're talking about
Liam Neeson's wife. She's dead now. That's
no,
who,
no,
wasn't
no,
that
no,
who
no.
played her in the
She-
original.
No, it was the woman from Nip Tuck. It was the main
Really?
actress from Nip Tuck.
Okay. Played.
You're talking about Anita,
Played along.
the woman that played Anita.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Alongside Jeff Daniels.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Jeff Daniels was
But
Roger.
she designs an outfit based on the spots of her dogs, and then
Glenn
Cruella's
Close
obsessed.
sees it,
But
yeah.
you don't ever really see the fashion
Nope.
side.
Yes.
This gives you way more of what makes Cruella,
Yep.
and what her business is, and why she's so obsessed.
Again,
with it
it kind of
eventually.
it shows you. It doesn't tell you. It's like
Yeah,
here's the
yeah.
fashion people. This is the fashion world, the underground world. But it's like it actually shows you the talent they have.
Even the little twist with with the vault, putting all the dresses in the vault, I thought that was creative.
Yeah.
Incorporating fashion into the heist that way.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that was well done. And again, I mean, the costume design. It was one thing when I was watching this movie, thinking these elaborate costumes, especially the one that she burns up and it turns to the red dress.
Right.
It gave me the Hunger Games vibe, only better, because it was one of those things where I was like, okay, this is kind of what I would have imagined from the novels. All the fashion in Hunger Games should have been, and the movies only did just that one dress, and
Right.
the rest of it was just kind of just this hokey gimmicky
Look, we're outlandish and we've got these crazy attire.
Whereas
Yeah.
this was outlandish, but it made sense. It's like, okay,
Yes.
this is what I imagine people that have these outlandish fashion ideas would actually come up with, not
Yes.
this generic. We're outlandish, so,
right?
Yeah.
Or we're only designing the
like
production for this type
the
of
garbage
film.
truck dress. I was like, that was
Yes.
really well done.
Yes,
yeah.
it was
awesome.
It
Yes.
was
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
I
I even with the flaming dress, you see one of the henchmen or whatever messing with it and testing it and stuff. So
Yeah.
they even build it up that she's gonna have a dress made out of this material that's gonna flash.
Yeah.
And I like it, but it still surprises you when it actually happens.
Yeah.
So it's just I don't know. It was very well put together.
Because Emma
film.
Stone
it's
just
funny.
pulls it off really well.
I mean, she
She
does.
did.
she
was
wore it
fantastic.
way better than Lawrence. Yeah,
Jay Lawrence.
I can't remember.
None
her.
of us.
Law.
None of
Is
us
it
can
J-Law?
speak tonight.
Well, no. I was just couldn't.
No.
I was
I'm
going to
just
say.
saying, I don't know what it is, but we are.
It wasn't that I couldn't speak. I just couldn't. I didn't remember if Lawrence was her last name, so I didn't want to say J-Law, and
Well,
it was
then
the
you
wrong
can't
one.
speak.
So I was like, "Is it Lawrence?" No, I spoke.
It is.
I just
It
had
is
to
Lawrence,
think.
yeah.
I was like, "Is
or
that yeah.
J Law.
Well, she hasn't done anything in so
or
long,
scumbag.
because she's been saving the world.
That's true. What? It's gone to hell. So what has she been doing?
She
Yeah,
took a year
she
off.
obviously-
she took a year off to save the world.
I mean,
and
if
we
this is
see what happens.
when she takes a break. Then please get back to making more movies.
No, I'd rather the world be hell.
I want a Red Sparrow too. I'd be fine with that.
She is in production with something with Netflix now, but
Of course.
Oh,
She's
gosh.
taking a break long enough.
Yeah.
She's got to be back in
All
the
right,
spotlight.
all right.
I'm tired of her
I
hometown
mentioned
girl.
there's 3 names you never mentioned:
Not on this show.
Zack Snyder, James Cameron, Jennifer Lawrence.
That's the trifecta right there. That's it. Alrighty, guys. I think we're ready to move on to our headlines. So let's get in to the headlines for this week. What could they be?
Edie's like, what's going on?
The dog
What's
is-
going on?
Your dog is freaking out. over
Because
here.
then she's like, "What the hell is happening?"
Like she's overstimulated over here.
Here,
She
you want
hears-
you want some coffee?
She's sitting there and she's just like, here's a bunch of screaming. And she's just like, what is going on? I don't know what to do.
Oh.
Hey, we can't speak, but we can scat. Okay?
Don't speak.
Oh, gosh. That's a classic
I
right
know.
there. Gwen
All right.
Stefani.
Is it?
It is.
Okay.
Sorry.
I thought it was Stephanie.
All right, let's
It's
move on to our headlines.
Gwen Stefani.
Stephanie.
Gwen Stefani. No, we
That
need.
sounds like John Travolta.
I was
said
saying
it.
we just need John Travolta to
That's,
announce it.
It's Gruel Stephanus.
Adele Denzine. Still the best ever.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, sometimes when I
God.
need to pick me up, I just Google that.
You got to. I mean, it's going to turn your frown upside down easily. Oh, it's so fantastic. Alrighty, guys.
That's what Scientology does to your brain.
It sure does. Oh, man.
You just. It's your dad.
I'm just like,
What's going on?
because I might as well be
had
John Travolta tonight. I'm
he had
telling
some
you.
Scientology lessons today, and that's what it did to his brain.
Elrod got to me, man. All right, let's-
Elrod?
Elron. I don't know. Gosh,
Oh my
sakes.
gosh!
Let's just move on.
Just quit.
Let's
What's in the
let's
headlines?
talk about the headlines, which happen to be we only got two. We only got two this evening.
Yeah.
The first one though is talking about the streaming wars.
Mhm.
Of course.
This one's
we
not
always
quite
bring
as
it up.
big, but it is interesting.
All there is to talk about nowadays.
Well, I mean, everything's moving that direction.
know. Yep, I
Disney
know.
Plus, they've already just stated it over the course of the pandemic that it just fast tracked it.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing is trying to get to that Disney Plus.
They said
100%.
all it did was make their plans,
But
expedited it.
Paramount Plus has been out for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
However, they have two tiers.
Yeah.
They just made an update to one of their lower tiers
Mhm.
that included ads. They
Yeah.
only lowered it by $1.
Yeah.
So it's not a huge savings.
Yeah.
It's only went from $6 to $5. Woo, cut in price.
But when
Yeah.
you
But
compare
when
it
you compare
yeah.
it to what their competition is,
competition,
oh my gosh, I swear, I can't speak. I
Oh my
can't.
God.
I don't know what it is. It's just one of them rare evenings.
Yeah.
I can't.
Competitions.
I can't.
Yeah.
Competitions.
HBO Max.
HBO Max has, which I forget their tiers. I know they've got a $15 like premium tier.
It's $15 includes 4K and the theater releases, simultaneous releases.
But then they also
Which
have. They just
are
came out.
pretty much the
They
only
just-
4K anyway. Is the theater?
yeah, they just
release.
announced an ad-supported for $10.99.
That's what it was.
And-
So Paramount Plus is undercutting HBO Max.
They already were if their thing was $6.
It was, but it
So-
didn't. It didn't include a whole lot of what they're about to add. They're now dropping this coming week or this month. It's throughout the course of this month, 1,000 new titles, including like Skyfall, Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. There's some. I mean, some of those are heavy hitters, but I'd have to look at like a deep list to realize is this like 1,000 great movies or
So
is this like subpar?
How long before Skyfall is Amazon Prime?
However
only?
long the contract
I was
lasts.
gonna say,
because Paramount
yep.
doesn't have the rights to James Bond anyways. It's kind of like there's things on HBO Max that aren't actually owned by Warner Brothers that
Yeah.
eventually I assume will
Right.
disappear.
Okay, yeah.
That is a good question because I mean that's really what this is all about too. Is not only are the deals changing in terms of we're lowering the price to try to stay competitive with our competition in terms of undercutting them, but also how long do these deals last with certain pieces? I mean, think about The Office that was on Netflix for so long until it went to Peacock. And now it's exclusively on Peacock.
Yeah.
And it'll probably stay there forever because of it being its own primary streaming service. You have CBS now on Paramount Plus. That was one thing that apparently you could still get with the $5 ad subscription.
Oh, was the CBS
or actually no, I take that back. They were no longer including the CBS Live feature. That still is a part of the premium plan. That also includes some NFL on CBS games in the fall, which is nice. But then they're going to have added tiers with like NCAA and I think golf that have to be added on separately.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're getting so fractured. I mean, this is kind of what we all wanted again when you think about 10
It's a
years
a
ago.
la
when we were
carte
thinking
cable
about,
package.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
and
But
I'm
yet-
okay with that.
but here's the thing: only some of the streaming services have the deals where they own a network that they can tie into. Not all of them have that. but is that going to be worth the price tag of a either ad-supported subscription or a premium subscription without ads for $5 or $10 a month?
Truthfully, don't care whether a streaming service has a adjacent channel that they can tie into it, just because I stopped watching TV long ago anyways, and have pretty much only watched streaming because there's not much on TV anymore that I care about. Most of that stuff is owned by larger
Which
production
we're going to get into that
companies
in our
anyways.
multimedia segment, so stay tuned.
I know it. I know it.
Wink, wink.
But for me, a lot of things like Paramount has CBS, which includes all of Star Trek. Warner Brothers has certain things like Big Bang Theory. Even though that was on CBS, it was owned by Warner Brothers, so that's actually on HBO Max. Friends is on HBO Max. So a lot of these companies, whether they have a channel they can directly tie into it or not, still own these properties.
Yeah.
So they're going to be on like The Office. Yes, Peacock is NBC, which is The Office, but even if it wasn't, say it was just strictly Universal owns NBC, so they'd still be able to tie that in anyway. Disney has things on several they have ABC, so they could tie in however they want. So most of these larger companies do own channels anyways. I mean,
well, and it's funny
Time
because,
Warner,
I mean,
TNT, TBS, all of that stuff was under Time Warner.
Well, and it's we know that now
That's
they're going to be
different,
spinning
Discovery.
off with Discovery, and that's going to be a whole new deal that probably fractures this even more. Because I think that's what's funny is we still have so many of these little individual pieces of the pie. For instance, I've been watching Wonder Years on Hulu, and that's an ABC property, but it's
which
like,
is owned by Disney,
right?
Which Hulu is owned by as well.
But how long? How long until that's on some kind of streaming service that isn't offered by something that is as varied as Hulu? Where it's like, at least if you go and want to watch The Office and you were an Office fan, you're going to go get and subscribe to Peacock because that is the NBC.
I would
version.
say with Wonder Years, because that is owned by Disney, which owns Hulu, that's fine there. That you're not really in a risk of that. But I could see what you're saying with another show that is on
Friends with HBO Max. Is that going to be worth it to keep a premium subscription?
Well, Friends
or even
is
an ad tier
owned by Warner Brothers, so it's going to stay. Well, it did. It was on Netflix, and that was one just like The Office. That was another huge one. That when Netflix lost it, people were upset. That is AMC, and I don't think anybody because AMC has
AMC is starting. They've got an AMC Plus.
Yeah, AMC has their own. AMC has their own streaming service. I don't think any larger company that I'm aware of owns them. I think AMC actually owns itself. So I'd have to look.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like FX. I don't think anybody owns
FX is owned by Disney because
Okay.
it was owned by Fox.
Okay.
And
Breaking
Disney
Bad
bought
was
Fox.
AMC too, wasn't it?
What was?
Breaking Bad was on AMC.
I think that was yes,
Yeah,
it was.
yeah, Breaking Bad was AMC. Mad Men was AMC.
yeah.
I can't find that anywhere. I think I have to watch it on Hulu.
Well, Breaking Bad I think is on Netflix.
It's
still.
on Netflix.
It is.
So is Walking Dead. Yeah.
but that's the thing.
But
is
Fear of the Walking Dead's on Hulu, not Netflix.
depending
which is
on
kinda funny.
how long.
Yeah.
It's just so like it
Fractured.
literally is.
Yeah.
It's to the point where you're gonna have them all to be able to watch what you want to watch.
Well, and I think that's what is most
are
interesting.
you gonna
is
go back to cable?
as even though it's splintered, it was kind of convenient, and everybody loved paying $15 a month.
Yeah.
when it was $15 a month.
Right.
Netflix is ridiculous now, but when it was at least a subscription, and you got all of this myriad of content that really kind of, I don't know, it satisfied all your different interests and tastes. Whether it was Breaking Bad, Friends, and The Office, the one platform I could go to satisfy those interests, and yet now we're sitting in a situation where, as the years continue to go, and Paramount Plus and all these streaming services, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Peacock, all of them start to come out to compete against one another, and these contracts end, you're going to have these particularly old classics, and they're going to try to entice you with new stuff too.
Yeah.
But you're going to have these old classics that are only offered on this one particular platform. So then, is it going to be safe to say that would you rather have, a la carte in terms of streaming service, or a Netflix where it's like, no, I liked this better when I could get it in one place and I didn't have to switch to 5 different apps or pay for 5 different subscriptions to get it? And yet, is that ending? Are we ever going to return to those kind of days? Are we to the point where streaming is getting so fractured that we're never going to have another chance to have these old classics in one place?
It would depend on the price for me, because I think one thing that and I know not many people have an Apple TV, the streaming box, and Roku is the most popular one, and they started to do this too. Roku has like their own they have their own channels now. That's not like the normal apps that you download. They have like an HBO. It's basically your subscription, but you do it within the Roku. Apple TV has the same thing.
Like a universal search.
Amazon Fire has the same thing.
Well, it's not even
like
it's not a universal search.
It's like
instead of owning cable and having HBO, Showtime, so that you can get those through Roku channel. You don't have to have cable to subscribe
it's an
to
all-in
HBO
one
or Showtime.
place. So it's kind of like you're going to one channel, one app on your Roku, but you have everything from all these different
I
providers.
gotcha. Okay.
It's like Roku
So-
is your cable provider now, but
Right,
it's free
right.
because they do have
So-
some free channels that really aren't that great. But then you can also
If I could get-
subscribe to like HBO and Showtime.
If I could
and-
get an AMC streaming service for $2 or $3 a month, and an HBO one for $5 a month, and an and an ABC one for $3 a
except
month.
none of them are that cheap.
Right, I know, but that's the thing. In order to do the a la carte thing and have everything, they're going to have to reduce the price.
You think it's going to head to that
I
in
think
the future?
if they fractured it enough to where it's like for instance, AMC, that's just one thing. Like there's probably not a lot of other channels or at all that are owned by
AMC
Network.
I had to look it up. AMC, it does own itself. AMC Network Inc. is the name of the company. They own the cable channels AMC, IFC, WeTV, and Sundance TV.
So AMC.
yeah,
yeah.
Sundance if you care about the
It's-
Sundance Film
it's
Festival,
okay.
but that's
Yeah.
about it.
But yeah, so it's like if you wanted those channels, then you've got to pay AMC $3 a month, and you get all of those channels. That would be the more a la carte thing that I would pay for. If it's going to be $10 for that one, and $10 for this one, and $18 for Netflix, and $120 a year for Amazon, and however much for Apple, that's way too much. I might as well just pay $200 a month for DirecTV with all of those channels,
Right.
on demand, because that's all included in there. You know, if you're going to be paying over $100 or $150 a month for all of those things
So
anyway,
do you think it's going to be beneficial for these companies, say when I guess competition really heats up, and like you're saying, you know, the consumer gets smart enough to realize, well, I'm already paying a $70, $80 a month cable bill. Why don't I just, instead of doing that in streaming, go to another provider? Because they're going to compete too. I mean, naturally, Dish TV, DirecTV, cable. I mean,
I hate to say it, but I had to just now start Spectrum at the new house.
yeah.
Spectrum is the most expensive.
Yes.
I mean, you can get
No doubt.
satellite, which I know a cloudy day you don't have service.
Yeah.
But you can get DirecTV way cheaper than
Yes.
Spectrum.
Yeah.
Spectrum's ridiculous.
Well, but I'll also say this: DirecTV's not that great. I've used it in terms of its user experience is not great.
I have too at my in-laws.
But Spectrum is not so vastly
Spectrum's
superior
insane.
that you should be paying as much as
Yeah.
you
No,
are. For
they
Spectrum.
wanted $60 a month for basic cable.
Yeah, bull-
and I'm
bull-
like, in Bardstown,
bull.
it was $20
Yeah.
a month.
Yep.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
BS.
yeah.
For the
It's-
same thing, 60 channels.
Yep.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, Spectrum is very. I only have internet. I don't pay for cable because I don't give a crap
But
anymore.
my internet's $109 a month.
Are you serious?
For
What
the
do you-
gigabit internet, it's
Oh, you're doing
$109
gigabit. They
Oh.
offer gigabit.
They offer gigabit.
Wow, I'm
But
kinda
it's not
surprised.
fiber.
They-
It's not fiber.
Yeah, they do.
Still,
I pay $54 for 400.
Once
megabytes.
it goes up, like after the first 12 months, and
Yeah.
it goes up, then I'm gonna bump it down to the
to like
next
300-400.
one.
Yeah,
It's 400, I
I
think.
say I only pay 54 for 400 megabytes.
Yeah.
So that's
AT&T,
kind of
I
crazy.
pay
that
70
yeah,
for a
I know.
gigabit. Then it's up.
it's
and
better than
down.
100 and something
I
though.
know.
Yeah. Spectrum is ridiculous. I don't
But
care
here's
about
the
cable
thing, but-
anymore,
I mean,
so I don't pay for it.
But I think as cord cutting continues to be, which it's growing every year,
Mhm.
you know, people are not paying for cable. And I think as that trend starts to happen, even as the streaming wars continue and we get more and more fractured there, you still have the competition. Because right now I think they're competing against one another, but they're mostly competing to try to get just your money in general. And I think once it becomes, you know, okay, the cable subscriptions are kind of the outliers. We don't worry about them. They're going to have to worry about their own competition. They're going to have to figure out a way to stay relevant. But I think with the streaming services, I actually don't think that's too far-fetched what you're talking about, Sean, where it's going to be how can we entice people to if they're not creating original content in the way that Netflix is, that is either one, so much of it that it's just like there's always something new that's worth checking out, even if you don't care about half of it, or if they're just creating original content nobody cares about because they just want the old stuff, then their main enticing, I think, argument is going to be, hey, why don't Disney Plus, or not Disney Plus, why don't Paramount Plus and Warner Media with AT&T, or not AT&T anymore, it'll be Discovery, partner up and say, hey, we'll bundle both of our packages, which gives you this litany of content, and we'll give it to you for $10. Kind of like Disney Plus does with Hulu and ESPN.
I think they'll get there. Because as I say, right now, like, in all honesty, even if you own almost all the streaming service, because I own the only ones I don't pay for right now are Peacock and Paramount Plus, and I mean it's still for me cheaper. Even if I included Netflix, which I don't pay for, it would be cheaper than paying for cable, which is still a plus. That even if you were to do all these streaming services, and eventually, I mean, especially when streaming services like Netflix keep upping the cost, because I mean, pretty soon it's going to be $20 a month for Netflix, which is ridiculous. At some point, yes, it's going to get to a point where it's like, okay, why are we paying for all these when it used to be we got them to be cheaper than,
that was on me.
I don't know that one. That one wasn't us this time.
I love it.
We're not connected to
You're all like, hey,
so.
it was us the last 2 weeks.
was.
Now it's you.
But I do agree. I think that at some point, I mean, because like you said, Disney already offers Hulu, ESPN, and Disney Plus in a bundle. I do think at some point when they realize, oh crap, we can't compete as well anymore, people are losing out. It's like, why not bundle stuff? You already see, because Showtime and what's the other one? Showtime, Cinemax, and Stars, all three have their own streaming services as well. They're just not as well known, kind of like AMC Plus, where you don't have to subscribe to those channels. You just subscribe to the streaming service and watch everything they have to offer. And they do actually bundle those with different, like Amazon or Roku channel, like Sean was talking about, because they know they can't compete with massive streaming services like Netflix or even HBO Max now, which has more than just HBO Max. Now, as far as like you're saying, original content, I agree. We've already seen HBO Max. The only thing kind of keeping it afloat right now is because it does have these new releases that are going to theaters and the streaming service. They haven't offered much with original content. Disney's starting to break out with all kinds of original content, and we've seen a boon there. Netflix has been very hit or miss. They've earned a reputation now for where they used to be the streaming service that created great originals. Now they're the streaming service that cancels all the great originals. So I mean,
Dark Crystal.
Not just that one. I mean,
we know that one holds a
I haven't watched
soft
it,
place
but
in your heart.
what's the
Altered Carbon was fantastic.
what's the name of the new one that just Jupiter?
Jupiter Ascending?
No.
It's
It's a TV
Legacy.
show. Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah.
It's a
a
new
superhero
show.
show.
It's kind of like,
It's like
The
The
Boys.
Boys.
They
Yes.
already canceled it?
Yes.
It just
came out.
came out.
It just
know.
came out like a few weeks ago. And it got a lot of like love for, like, fans loved it, but apparently it didn't meet its mark, and Netflix like, you know what? We axed it, and a lot of fans are pissed, and rightfully so. It's like it's only been out a month, and you've already been like, it's
See,
gone.
and this is the weird thing too, is Netflix is in trouble because they do this like money dump right out of the gate. And granted, when it pays off, but like they had that huge success with all the DC original, or I mean, sorry, Marvel originals. But then, of course, when Disney Plus comes out, they're like, no, not anymore. And they yanked those, and I'm like, each one of those was a hit. They had a cult following, and all of them were looking.
Well, most of them are hit.
Iron
Fist was kind of
But the thing is for one, it had potential.
It did get 2 seasons, so it was enough of a hit that they didn't
Punisher
just,
and Daredevil were both
Oh,
amazing.
Daredevil was fantastic.
The Punisher is amazing as well.
And that's the weird thing, is it's like that was kind of back when almost it was guaranteed any kind of Netflix original or something that had Netflix tied to it was I want to check this out.
Stranger Things.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And now it's become so hit or miss, and they're just they want that Stranger Things to hit and take off, and then they're like, okay, good, that's supplanted us, we're good to go for a few more years.
And you do see them kind of like they stick their tent pole in the ones that they know, like Stranger Things or like The Witcher. They've been very devoted to that.
The Witcher's another one that's
they
coming
just
out with
renewed
season 2.
Shadow and Bone. Apparently, it was a pretty good hit, which it's based off of a series of novels. I feel like the ones that they know already kind of have a following before they're made into shows.
Oh, no doubt.
They're kind of willing to like, these will be successful because people already like the books or the comics or what have you.
But it is funny because
They
I
invest in other shows like You, and I'm like, it's a good show.
It's
but
a great
not
show.
A,
Yeah.
it's
I love
not a
that show.
A 4 or 5
But
season
again,
show.
it
Why
has-
are we
it
still
season
has-
going?
3's coming though, and I'm looking forward to
know.
it.
Well,
I can't
it's
wait.
based off a series of books that already have a good following. So again, they're like, well, we can just keep adapting the books,
Plus,
and fans
I
will
don't
like
think
it.
that's the kind of show that's breaking the bank. Like,
No.
yeah, it's highly produced, and I definitely don't
that's
think
true.
it's not
That's
cheap,
true. Witcher's
but it isn't The
expensive.
Witcher.
Yeah,
You know, they're not spending hundreds of millions of
Yeah.
dollars on these huge set
point. Yeah.
pieces,
Mhm.
and I think those are the at least the series where okay, they could go to some kind of film festival or even a market that sells these shows after they've been produced and already made and say, oh yeah, we want to buy that one, or oh, that fits our audience. But ultimately, I just think the streaming wars are obviously here to stay for a long time,
Yep.
but every little inch gets us closer to kind of figuring out how the landscape is going to be played, I think, in the coming years. And I think as we get, we're still not done. I think we still have a lot of fractured, pieces, to take from a very, I guess, fun, lovable video game, South Park: The Fractured But Whole. I really do think that's what we're going to end up
Yeah.
with regard to the streaming wars. I think it's it's just like when I think cable hit and there were just these litany of channels that launched, all these different
It's like people were paying all kinds of crazy money to have 500 channels. There's still
Right.
nothing to watch on all 500 of
well,
them.
well, and that's the thing. But it was funny because you had probably 1,000 channels by the end of, I think, cable's reign, but maybe 100 of those were ones that people cycled through, and most of the others were. I mean, then you of course still had your like pay for play, which was like HBO.
When you
and
had like
Showtime,
8
the
different
Stars.
MTVs and 5 different Spanish channels. I mean, it's like
Right,
it's like you got
right.
500 channels, but like most of them are the same thing, just repeated. Yeah.
Exactly. And so and I think at the end of the day, it's going to take some time for this to all level out, but I think cord cutting is increasing, no doubt. Cable's gone down. We've seen that. But I think as streaming continues to become more popular, it's going to take a while to work out the kinks, and it is going to be people picking and choosing. And my real question, and this probably takes us into our multimedia segment, is how do people decide what it is that they are purchasing a subscription for? And I know we said we had 2 headlines, but we're pushing up against the time.
Yeah, we ran that
The,
one.
So,
into
the
the
I
ground.
other
would say that's
headlines,
okay.
I feel bad because I kind of set it
it's
up.
more Reddit hedge
we don't-
fund.
we don't
with
really need
it's
to-
it's
yeah.
what happened
Yeah.
with GameStop's now happening with AMC.
Pretty
There,
much.
you're up to date.
Boom! Fantastic. Let's get into our multimedia segment. Let's roll that open.
Multimedia.
Multimedia.
Multimedia. It's like every time we go to a new segment, even
We
though
had some good dances going over here.
I want to see them.
I know
gotta-
you didn't cut
you
to
gotta
them
do
when
I
I was
did.
doing it. I'm
You
not
don't know
redoing
that.
it.
You got to do the grandma's boy. I am a robot. Remember that? I haven't seen that movie in forever. You remember what I'm talking about, though? Oh.
It's a funny movie. But all right, let's go right
Dude,
into it.
Very
Where do you
bad.
get your weed?
very
From
bad
you,
movie.
Dante. That's my favorite part of the whole movie.
I
It's
just
like,
remember that
"From
being
you,
like
Dante."
the only other movie that the one dude
It's
from
such
I
a
think
stupid movie.
The Wedding Singer. There's 2 actors from The Wedding Singer that are
Yeah.
in that movie
Oh.
that are the lead characters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's like the-
Dante's one of them.
yeah,
and,
and
then
that-
the other one.
That's the only movie,
so
other movie I
stupid,
know them
man.
from. That's it.
Such a stupid movie.
It is a stupid movie.
it's
It is
dumb.
not even a good movie, but it's hilarious.
I love when that one dude goes. He's like, "This is my race car bed." It's like a grown man. He's got a race car bed. Such a stupid
It
movie.
is.
That's a Lake movie
like-
right there.
It is.
It's like, look what my roommates got me. You mean your mom and dad?
'Cause, yeah, but they're my roommates. All right.
No,
Oh,
multimedia.
Multimedia.
All right, let's move on.
We don't
Let's
need to
move on.
keep talking about
We
Grandma's
don't.
Boy.
We don't. I was gonna bring up the fact the grandma from was it
Everybody Loves Raymond. Yeah, she
She's
was in that.
fantastic
She
in that.
was. She was.
Just a hidden gem. Alrighty. Our unique weekly segment is we kind of brought it up a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
We talked about it a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
said our opinions, and then realized the
That we did.
multimedia segment didn't have anything to do with that. So we're bringing it back.
Okay.
Old or new for streaming. What do you prefer? When you buy a streaming subscription, are you buying it for the original content, or are you buying it for the classics that you enjoyed long ago and you want to re-enjoy?
I feel like initially I want seriously. I mean, when I'll use Disney Plus as probably the best example. When I subscribed, I knew there wasn't going to be a lot on there, but I subscribed in hopes of knowing what was to come, knowing that we had these Marvel and Star Wars series coming. So it's like I wanted the new stuff, but I also wouldn't have subscribed as early as I did or stuck around as long if it wasn't for the backlog, like their classic library. So it's kind of like initially I want to know there's going to be new things, but I also like to have all that old content to fill my time until the new things come because I like to revisit things. I do watch certain, I mean, not everything, but there are key series that I'm just like, yeah, I could watch those anytime. So if like there's nothing new out and or even if I'm just kind of having a bum day, it's like, I'll turn Scrubs on because it makes me happy.
Saved by the Bell. It's a great
Not
show.
that one. not that one. Boy Meets World, I'll do. I do love Boy Meets World.
Yep, I've probably on my 10th time watching through that series.
Oh my
I freaking love that series. I watch that all the day, all the day long. Sean, what about you?
I will be honest and say that the majority of the streaming services that I subscribe to, I bought in because of new content.
Okay.
Now, it's the old content that is kind of keeping me around, but it's also, if they're not announcing anything new, I'm not paying $20 a month to watch Wonder Years again. I saw it once. I've seen it twice probably. I don't care to see it again. Breaking Bad is an amazing show. I've seen it through twice. I don't really need to watch it again. So that's kind of content's not keeping me wanting to pay them more money. If they keep producing new stuff, bringing new content on there, Netflix has new content all the time. It's hit or miss, but it's the things that I'm promised in the future, like The Witcher and a Game of Thrones prequel, the Lord of the Rings thing that's coming to Amazon. Those are the things that are keeping me, keeping me interested and wanting to fork over my money. So without new content, I would be out because I can download
here's the thing.
all of the
old
stuff over if I wanted to and watch it.
True. And you can even purchase it.
I could probably download the new content too. There's nothing that's popped up on Netflix that I couldn't get in other means.
Truthfully,
means.
The old content.
We don't talk about that here.
Yeah,
I know.
Like, the old content is kind of what keeps me around because some of that stuff can be a hassle to try to download, especially if it's very old.
That's true.
Like all of the classic Doctor Who that took me months to get, but I have it.
Some of it's worth it.
Like we talked about
So it
with
is worth
Disney, like dinosaurs, like
which
that
is
old
on there
show.
now. But
I know, but I tried to download that a long time ago and could not find all the episodes of that. And when I did, they were basically VHS quality.
Yeah.
They were really terrible.
Boy Meets World was like that.
Well,
for a
Boy
while.
Meets, but the other reason too would be for purposes of like the Muppets. Certain episodes that aren't available on streaming, you would want to get through older versions.
Well, I have all of the episodes of the Muppets.
Yes.
Whether Disney wants me to have them or not.
Exactly. But that's the point. Is as we continue, that's a whole other discussion. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But if streaming services are going to pick and choose part of the content that I can enjoy versus part I can't, I'd rather own it, and pay for it outright.
To be fair with the Muppet Show, though, that's because of rights issues, not because of
Content.
Content. Now there are other things that Disney has
that's
edited
actually
because of content.
games have that same issue. I mean, that's why Tony Hawk's Pro Skater I think couldn't be remade for the longest time was licensing rights for the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. And there's part of that is reason why even I think on Hulu, Wonder Years uses like it's not the original theme. It's
Scrubs has different music because
right.
With music rights, you had to not only get the rights to use it, but you had to get the rights to air it when the show aired.
Yep.
Then if you did a home release, you had to get home release rights. Well, streaming didn't exist when those shows were made, so they only got DVD rights. Now that streaming exists, you have to get streaming rights too. And a lot of these companies don't want to pay again
they're
for the
smart,
rights to the
man.
same song.
Right. They're smart. I think they're right. I mean, it sucks because we get stripped for every show. It's like at least get the you can't be monetized because you have this. And I'm like, I don't care.
We're not monetized.
We're not.
We want your ads though. Hey, we'll speak about them here on the show.
We will.
Yeah. But the funny thing is like it's crazy because I'm like if any one of the business people had any kind of foresight of we're gonna have something like streaming, not even like in terms of over the air, just like more than VHS home release. they would have gotten the rights back then, and then the licensing people would have been like, oh crap, we should have saw it. And for some content, they are like that.
Yeah.
But actually, to go back to your point, Sean, I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm going to piggyback off Keith's, but at the same time, I was going to ask you, you kind of said it was about price. And for instance,
too.
Netflix is probably the
It
highest
is the
end,
highest.
other than like HBO Max.
Yeah.
However, I would even say HBO Max has a huge back catalog,
Mhm.
as well as continual, because they've always had original content that has kind of been worth the purchasing price,
Right.
because it was premium even while it was
Yeah,
on cable.
HBO. Yeah.
It's always been in addition to.
Right.
But Netflix, being the higher end, now having all of its original content, do you think the prices that these services are at right now are sufficient, that you're paying the right amount? Because think about Disney Plus. It's only $7,
Yeah.
but you're getting we've gotten now 3 new, we're getting Loki this week, but
Yeah.
it'll be 3
Tomorrow.
Marvel originals.
Yeah.
But so with that being the case, is that not fair? I mean, what about Paramount Plus?
I
It's
think
like,
Netflix is very overpriced.
I think Netflix is overpriced. The only argument that I would have with Netflix and the
Oh.
reason that I think it is, I was thinking at $14 to $15 that was feasible.
Yeah.
And that's just because of the films. There's so many Netflix original movies. They're not all good, but I can understand with they're pumping movies out and producing films that quick, they got to make up somehow or another.
Yeah.
They're going to have to raise the prices. I do feel like with a show like The Witcher that costs hundreds of millions of dollars to make, I understand that being a property. I mean, to be honest with you, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, it was a great show. I don't feel like it was anywhere near on par with the Marvel films in production value. I think it looked okay, but I think they skimped on a lot of the scenes. They made a lot of the scenes small. A lot of the set pieces were small because they didn't want to keep the production costs down for a television show. But if you compare that to any of the Avengers movies, they're not even close. So I don't feel like that is even a production that cost as much as something like The Witcher or Game of Thrones with HBO. That's a ridiculously expensive show.
Yeah.
But
I know,
the only
but here's
reason
the thing, you're
reason I'm
paying-
paying for HBO is for their new movies that they're going to release on there and for Game of Thrones.
But see, okay,
there's not another show on HBO that I watch.
which is
beyond
funny
Game
because
of Thrones.
that's actually going to bring me to the point that I was going to piggyback off of Keith, which was I agree in the sense that I could see streaming becoming something that I look forward to, the new things, but I stay for the old content. But I'll be honest, if I, like, for instance, HBO Max has that gimmick this year, but they've already stated because of the uproar that theaters had and even the Hollywood has had, they're not going to do it next year.
Yep.
Because obviously COVID's
That
gone.
reduces the value to me.
And my question is for one, what else are you going to have for my subscription payment? And then also, ultimately, if any of that original content doesn't become the new old classics in my mind, then what am I paying for?
Right.
Because to me, if I'm watching
I
all of it,
actually-
like that was my problem with Netflix, is Netflix was coming out with quality things that I was like, okay, this makes the subscription worth it, not just because I'm enjoying it now, but because I know it's always there. I can go back and watch. When House of Cards was fantastic, I was like, I could rewatch that series a few times and know that that's a Netflix original. As long as I have my Netflix subscription, I will always have that show.
Yeah.
But if you create originals that either get canceled super fast or don't entice me to keep watching, what am I paying for?
Netflix is my least favorite and least used streaming service right now, which I don't pay for it, so that's a good thing, because I probably wouldn't. They just, other than Stranger Things and The Witcher, there's not really much on Netflix that I care about anymore. I actually do, like, even outside of this year, when they're not releasing the new releases from the theaters on HBO Max, there's a lot of backlog stuff on HBO Max that I love that I would keep that one over Netflix. Same thing with Disney Plus and Hulu and Amazon.
Exactly. Disney Plus has that for me.
There's a lot of things on
Just
those other streaming
nostalgia.
services that I enjoy that I would want to keep, whereas Netflix used to have that content, but now it's on everything else, so I don't care about Netflix anymore.
Well, I'll throw something out there that neither of you are considering, and it makes sense that you wouldn't consider it because you don't have kids. Netflix has twice the catalog of kids stuff than Disney has, and Hulu combined. I would argue with you. Netflix has an insane
I've
amount
seen
of kids
but
stuff.
I just don't know if it's any of it is. Granted, I mean you don't care because
I would
it's
say
for your kids.
I would say if
but
you
it
don't
have
care
to
about
be
quality, you just want to sit
That's
down.
what I'm
and
saying.
let
Yeah,
them
If you want to watch
Yeah.
Airbud and all these stupid, there's a dime a dozen films on there or shows that I don't.
I would just show them all the Disney classics that I loved growing up from that are on Disney Plus.
I get that, but if you're looking for new stuff, you
I
know,
see, I don't-
there's
but
just
again,
so
I
much
just-
crap on there. It's ridiculous.
Well,
like it's an endless.
It's kind of
thing.
sad because if you give a kid an iPad and you give them Netflix Kids, they will literally scroll through the thousands of crap
and never
ton
pick
that they have,
anything.
and or they'll pick something different, watch it for 5 minutes, and then go pick something else. And I'm like,
My sister's kids watch YouTube. They don't even care about Netflix
see,
stuff.
my parents, my especially my brothers and sisters, they won't let them watch YouTube because there's crap on there.
Yeah,
That
yeah, it's very. You have to
YouTube
be
doesn't
cautious.
filter.
Well, they
Yeah.
have YouTube Kids, but even
It
that
does
can,
not,
that's what
yeah.
I'm saying.
It's not
so that
good.
you have to be very cautious because yes, even YouTube Kids can be sketchy if you're not paying attention.
Right.
But yeah,
And it's weird because I agree. Like to a certain degree, I kind of want to be a stickler of like, no, you don't like that. You like what I liked as a kid. But it is kind of funny because I'm
but you
like,
can't do that.
I know.
either.
no,
Yeah.
because I liked Barney, and I know my kids
Yeah.
didn't watch Barney.
I tried to watch the dinosaurs.
or
with
my parents
kids.
didn't watch it.
Sawyer, I
Yeah.
thought he stared at it.
He
Like,
hated
Are
it.
you serious?
Yeah.
And I was like, this show was hilarious when I was a kid.
Yep.
Like I loved it. He didn't care. I tried to watch Alf.
Oh man,
Alf is a
I love
fantastic
Alf.
and
So
hilarious show.
stupid.
what's Alf on?
It's on Hulu.
Oh man,
Yeah,
we're
you
gonna
can
watch
watch
Alf.
Alf.
I loved Alf
So
growing
stupid.
up. I love
I
Alf.
Got
hated
2
Alf.
episodes in, and he was. I want
You
to watch.
hate Alf?
I hate
Yeah.
Alf.
Oh, I
hate
loved
Alf.
Alf.
The-
He's always trying to eat that cat.
I know.
It's just so weird. The 80s was a great time for TV. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Because you had the most experimental crap,
Yeah.
and it was just
Listen,
They don't
you
like
can
what we
keep your
like
save.
anymore.
You keep your Saved by the Bell. I'm gonna keep my Alf.
Yeah.
Hey, and it's funny you talk about experimental television and like stuff getting canceled super quick. Look no further than the 80s. They had it all.
Hey,
They had
Alf ran
tons of
for what
Alf
5 or
was-
6
yes,
seasons? It had,
that's
it had
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
and then it got
episodes.
canceled, and immediately it was just ripped. But then there was that one with the robot girl. What was that?
Small
one?
Wonders.
Small Wonders.
Yeah.
I think it had like 3 seasons or something.
was
I
a
don't
good
know.
one.
But then they have like your classics, like oh crap, I'm forgetting Perfect Strangers. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a great 80s TV. But see, okay, we're talking about classics.
Yeah.
But I don't know. All in all, it's like I agree with you, Keith. I think it's the classics that you stay for until the originals arrive. But for me, the true test of streaming, which I think this is the way it is with cable and network television. Because that's the thing. I've boasted about AMC how they picked it up with Breaking Bad, Mad Men. But to me, AMC, I don't know.
But they haven't had anything really that great
True,
since
true.
probably Breaking Bad. I mean,
and the thing is,
they
is
still have
some-
Walking Dead, but it's nowhere near as good
dwindling
in
out.
quality
Yeah.
as what it used to be.
And some may even argue that, because of that string of hits, and now that they aren't making them as many of them, that it's kind of not worth it to pay just that price to have those.
it's
Like, to
it's
me,
like
would it-
$9 for AMC Plus.
Right. Why wouldn't you just
No.
go and buy for $100 and something bucks, like the box set for Mad Men?
I said
or-
I
or-
own Breaking Bad on Blu-ray,
Yes.
and I'm good. I don't need anything else from AMC.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that really is the question: is if you enjoy certain classics and you just keep watching those over and over. I mean, that's why Boy Meets World. I just bought it. I'm like, if I'm gonna watch Boy Meets World with Saved by the
Okay,
Bell,
here's a
why
good one.
pay for a streaming service subscription when I could just own it? And after 7-8 months, it's paid for itself.
And this was long before HBO Max was a thing, but I own every season of Tales from the Crypt on DVD, and it's still not on HBO Max. It was an HBO original. It is a classic show, and I'm still like, why is this not on HBO Max? But
Yeah.
that's okay because I own the DVD, and every Halloween I watch
Yeah.
random episodes. I
And
just grab
honestly,
the DVDs
but then
and throw
there's
'em in.
other stuff like Space Ghost, which are like 15-minute episodes
I
on
love Space
HBO
Ghost.
that I'm just like, see, this is the
Well, that was
reason
actually
why I love
Cartoon
HBO
Network, but
Max.
it's still owned by Warner Brothers. So
and that's
yeah.
why I love it, because I'm just like, I wouldn't buy this on a box set, but this is perfect for that.
Yeah.
Because I can get my fix
Definitely.
from it and move on.
They have all of Studio Ghibli's films, which is Hayao Miyazaki,
Yeah.
Asian, which I was really impressed by because There's just a lot of just different. I think more niche stuff. It's like if you're not into those,
she's getting antsy.
she definitely is.
Getting into
If you're not into
Come here.
some of those niche things, HBO Max probably doesn't do it for you. But if you do have more of like with anime or like Space Ghost or some of those things, I think HBO Max does offer well. But that's also not going to attract most average audience, like most average viewers.
Yeah, I'm not a rerunner. I don't rewatch old stuff that often. I get 2 hours of TV a day.
See,
to
you
myself.
I was
I
gonna
want to
say,
watch a movie.
you
I want to watch
do.
something I haven't seen before. I don't have time to sit and watch something I watched 10 years ago.
I do it
just
for
started,
the feels.
I know.
It's
I
sad.
understand that.
I am. I'm
And
more
if-
of a
and if I
nostalgia
have-
watcher.
If I have a day, a Saturday or something where I've got time to do that, I will. But when the 2 hours a night that I have to watch TV, I want to watch something that I haven't seen before.
I think for me, it's one of those things where it's like, depending on my mood, it's like I want to watch something that I know will make me laugh or something that I know will make me cry. More often that one. I love to cry when I watch things. I'm weird. So I'm like, I don't know if this new thing's going to do it for me. I don't know what it's like. So I'm going to watch the thing that I know will make me cry or laugh.
Right. Like no, but and I'll be honest. I appreciate that you are someone who will give new things a try because that's far, I don't know, bolder than I am. Because I there are times where I'm sitting there and I have a huge list of backlog of things I need to watch and give a try. And there's times where I'll sit down and I'll see it pop up on a streaming service, and I'm like, not tonight.
Yeah.
And I
Watch
just
Boy Meets World again.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch The Office.
Can't
I've
do that.
seen- I love The
I've
Office.
seen that. I don't care to watch it all over again.
It's like there's 5 seasons. of
I
that
can't
are just
rewatch
pure
that
gold.
because it's on Peacock and I'm not paying. That's the only thing on Peacock I would
or
pay
I
for.
watch
so I'm not
wrestling
paying
and
for
I
it.
relive old wrestling
wow.
matches and even new ones.
I've had the weirdest itch to watch some '90s wrestling. Is it on something right now?
Peacock.
It's on Peacock.
Is
Is it on the
made
free?
A deal with
Is it on the
WWE.
free version of Peacock? See, I'm not paying Peacock just to watch wrestling.
Wait. It may be. You may just have ads. It may be.
I'm okay with ads.
I don't know.
I just
Yeah,
don't want
you
to.
have
Like,
to
there's
check.
nothing else on Peacock other than wrestling in the Office.
I know
so
that
I don't want to pay for it.
modern wrestling
Yeah.
is on Hulu still. They have a
I
partnership.
don't care about
know,
modern wrestling
No.
either.
But WWF or WWE,
I want the
Raw
Ultimate
and
Warrior.
SmackDown. Oh man, yeah.
I want Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
I want Nature Boy.
Yep. Freaking. Oh gosh.
Ric Flair.
Oh man.
Ric
Jake
Flair.
the Snake.
Jake the Snake.
Jake the
Roddy
Snake.
Roddy Piper.
Yep.
Razor Ramon. The Giant. I want Andre the Giant, man.
Andre.
Oh, that's if you do have HBO, look for the Andre the Giant documentary. Fantastic.
You know what? Really,
Amazing.
I don't know why. I really wanted to watch some like Mick Foley match. I always liked Mick.
Oh,
Fo-
he was freaking
and
awesome.
then I love Mick Foley in the '90s.
You got to watch the King of the Ring,
Mankind,
Mankind and
Dude
Undertaker
Love.
match. Oh yeah, Cactus Jack.
Cactus Jack. Of
Bang
course.
bang.
Yeah.
That's right. He had
His
the-
I really want to watch his match with The Rock is what I was wanting to watch because the one where he actually beat The Rock, but I don't know. I have to look and I'm gonna have to go on Peacock
you
and
have.
see if
Yeah.
and-
You
yeah.
can honestly. It's weird. It was like a month or two ago. WWE, I think, when they switched from they got rid of the network and they switched to Peacock, they started uploading like all of these classic matches, like full length, on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Under the WWE YouTube banner. So I would just go on WWE YouTube page and like you may have to watch like a 15-second ad at the beginning and one in the middle, but they have like full Royal Rumble matches from back in the day. They have the King of the Ring match where I think it was Undertaker throws Mankind off a steel cage. I freaking love that crap, man. All day.
There's good stuff.
That's
Good
like
stuff.
And that's the thing. If I can't pick something on a streaming service, I default to wrestling. I'll go find a wrestling match. I'll watch it for however long I'm eating, and then once I'm done eating, I'll just like do something on my computer, and it'll be on in the background.
I default to something on YouTube sometimes. It depends. I have a lot
Porn.
of defaults. No, porn's not on YouTube.
Not
but
yet.
Just thinking of like
I
It's
had
on YouTube Kids.
Yeah, yeah, and that's true. I defaulted to Pawn Stars for a little while, and I don't know why. I just had a Pawn Stars kick, and then I got bored with it. I'm like, I'm done with this.
There's-
Once
I
once
don't
you've
know.
seen 20 episodes, you're like, okay, this is all the same. I'm
but
done.
there is something about those those damn serialized shows.
Yeah, yeah.
The same thing every episode.
In
But
fact,
it's
that's
always
what
like,
was did
what
it
are they gonna
because-
bring in this time?
Well,
Yep.
they had Mick Foley in an episode of Pawn Stars, and that's why I was like, I really want to watch some Mick Foley wrestling now.
I'll just tell y'all this.
Someone tried to sell some of his memorabilia, and they actually got him to come and verify whether he had really signed
That's
it or
pretty
not.
No
cool.
kidding.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, he came in and he's like, "Oh yeah, I did sign that." And then the dude was like, "You know what? I don't want to sell this anymore."
I'll leave you with
So they
this.
actually kind of shot themselves in the foot because he met Mick Foley and was like, "Okay, I'm good."
Yeah, that would do it for me. Just look up Mick Foley's daughter. That's all I'm going to say. All righty, guys. That is the end of our episode this week. We hope you all enjoyed the Red Moon Podcast. But you know what else you could do? If you really want to support us, let us know what you think, old or new, why you subscribe to streaming services. You know how you can let us know? By subscribing and liking and commenting and sharing and notifying everybody about all of our social media right there at the bottom of your screen.
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell icon. Smash that like button. Red Moon Book, Red Moon Tweet, Red Moon Picks, and just search for Red Moon Productions on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. We appreciate all the support. But yes, tune in, weigh in. Let us know what you think.
We're getting big on
And-
Twitch. We got comments from Twitch tonight again.
Hey, awesome. Hope you enjoyed.
what'd
I
they
hope we're
say?
not screwing you over. And
I hope they made fun of us some
Hello.
more. Oh.
Hey.
Well, hello.
Hey,
We're glad you watched.
we are. Absolutely.
I was hoping maybe someone.
Who
would make
knows?
fun-
Maybe they tuned in for 5 seconds or they just tuned out and they are making fun of us.
If you want to comment and make fun of us, please do. We
How
enjoy
else could
those.
they
Email
comment?
us. Yeah.
How could they do that, Keith?
Well, I feel like I'm about to burp, so let's not try to do that. Yeah, I didn't want to
You
burp in the
burped
middle of
the
this. so
email.
That would ruin the radio.
they would have to
voice.
send an email, the old-fashioned form of messaging, to rmpodcast@redmoonproductions.com.
That was beautiful. It's just done.
I'm done.
He's done. He's going to
put it
email.
in.
He's going to type it in right now.
Mm.
I mean, that wasn't a mic drop. That was a
Drop the
headphone drop.
Headphone.
Right there.
Oh man, my audio technicas are messed up.
Well, it's
Uh-oh.
done. They're dead.
They're
He's gonna eat
gone.
them.
Oh no.
It's kind of weird seeing you without headphones.
I got them.
None of us ever wear, like, we don't ever not have our headphones on the show. It's
Well,
weird.
because then you don't quite hear
I know
the
we
way,
don't
like-
hear, but it's like it's weird for our viewers because we see each other all the time without our headphones. Our viewers only ever see us like this. It's kind of
Do our
noise.
viewers think we don't have ears?
Maybe not.
I don't. You've never seen them, have you?
I don't know, but they could email us and let us know.
I
Our
cut 'em off.
podcast at redmoonproductions.com if you want to
Like
see
Van
whether we
Gogh,
have ears
just-
or not.
Yep.
Keith
What
doesn't have any.
movie we're reviewing next week?
But I think we're doing F9. I think
F9?
that's dropping this week, isn't it?
No.
Is it
No.
not? Am I
No.
totally wrong on
Yeah,
that?
you're
I don't know.
completely wrong.
Well, guess what? I lied.
The Conjuring's out.
We could do
we
that
could do
one.
that one. I think we were trying to see what else was out, but I mean, I'm fine with doing Conjuring 3. I like the other Conjuring
That's going to be
movies.
our on deck.
Yeah.
Conjuring 3 unless we find something else. And if we do,
We'll let
that's
you
why
know.
you should follow us on social because you'll find out if we change it. Alrighty, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of the Red Moon Podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in. And again, we appreciate all your support and your love out there. Until next time, I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and
Squash Cravat Bleederville Mump Tussled Star Pudding.
Star Pudding.
Oh man.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.